In this video, I fully automate the best meals from the Farmer's Delight mod using all of the create contraptions, including automating a whole bunch of ingredients all inside this new building in the ski village. Let's create. In the last couple of episodes, we made this amazing farm, and it all works now. It's all plumbed in together. The tractor will leave at 6 o'clock every morning, go harvest the fields. He then comes around here and drops all of the items off secretly underground. The items then come through this portable storage interface into this vault, and then they all get shipped into this big room, into an even bigger vault here, and then they go in all sorts of places to go to do all sorts of things. Some of them go up these funnels here, a bunch of them go down those conveyors and up these funnels here and up those funnels there, and some of them even come over this side of the room and up these funnels here and these funnels here. And I realise they're all chutes and not funnels. So hopping up my little ladder into the main room, some of the items get sent through these portable storage interfaces to feed the baby animals to make them grow up quicker. And I've got a similar sort of thing going on for these baby chickens, which basically just take seeds. And all the way upstairs, although there's still no easy way to get up here, in each corner we've got all of the other chutes bringing all of the other items in for all of the other animal breeders, so that they've all got plenty of items. So it's all working really well, which means we can leave this little project behind and start our final set of projects in this area, or at least in phase 2. We've got 9 buildings to build. They're all going to have separate things going on in them, all related to food production. Some of them will be farms, some of them will be cooking, some of them will be production, but this first one here is going to be storage, and that's going to be storage for all of the things that we're harvesting and all of the meat we're getting in here, which means I need to get all of the items out of these vaults here and the rest of the items from this vault here all the way out of this farmyard, across here and into the back of this building here. And I don't want to just feed it all through with belts. I'd like to have something interesting going on, and my original plan was to have a tram that would go all the way around this thing and deliver items to all of these different ones, but as things have gone on and things have changed, I don't think that's going to be possible. So we're just going to bring it all into this building here, store it in there, and then we'll just transfer it to the other buildings as we need it. Before we get into building though, let me just give you an idea of what we're going to be doing here. This wide part here is our main high street. This is going to be our little ski village, and each one of these is going to be like a shop or a chalet or something like that. So these buildings down this street are more likely to look like shops and have shop fronts. And this sort of high street then goes down here, which will be a little side street. So again, these 4 buildings here will likely be shop looking buildings, but this one here is kind of all sort of stuck on its own now because I had to move everything around. So what I might do, seeing as though this is going to be our storage area and probably likely going to be our kitchen as well, is to combine these 2 buildings and have one bigger building down at here. And then the front of it can be a shop front, the back of it can be for storage, and we can have a bunch of stuff going on in there, and then that leaves us with 7 other buildings that all have access to the main streets. I think that makes more sense. So I guess it's time to do that thing that I do and start placing blocks, ideally in time with the music. If you're enjoying this video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It only takes a couple of seconds and it really helps me out. There we go. I don't think that's come out too bad, really. It kind of feels like a ski resort style shop. At the front, we've got the big windows to signify that this is a shop. Obviously, there's absolutely no interior at all yet. And down the sides, it's pretty blank, but that's because there's going to be an awful lot of stuff going on inside here that we probably don't want to see. Around the back and at the front, I've planted sweet berries because I thought they had that sort of nice, snowy, Christmassy feel to them. I've gone for the staggered roof line, just like we saw on the pictures earlier on in this season. So yeah, I don't think it's too much of a bad building. So So now that that's done, we now need to sort out the inside, and as you can see here, it's a little bit of a layered mess, and that's because the terrain was kind of all over the place. And there's quite a few things we need to do. Obviously, we need to get all of our meat and vegetables and stuff in here. We need to store them, but we also need to work with them as well. We need to cook some of the meats, we need to produce some meals, we need to automate some of that, and we need a manual kitchen process as well. And then over here at the front of this room, it'd be quite nice to have it set up as like a little deli counter where you can come in and just, you know, buy some food. That would be good. But I suppose there's no point in talking about it. We might as well get going, and I'm going to start by putting some floors in. Well, I may have put a little bit more than a floor in. I've also put in a whole bunch of dividing walls. I've created all of these little rooms. I've flattened the floor in here to make this storage area nice and big. I've put some stairs in which lead us to this area. I've put some more stairs in that lead us to this area and this area. And now we've got a massive area to play with. So this upstairs big room here is going to be automated food production. This big old area downstairs is where we're going to be bringing the items in and storing them. This little room in here is going to be a manual kitchen. This is going to be our shop, and that leaves two big spaces that we don't really have much use for, although I'm sure I'll fill them with something. But yeah, we've got this little room down here, and then we've got this little space here as well, which I guess we could probably just fill with storage, a few barrels and bits and bobs like that. So I guess the next thing I need to do is actually get some items in here so we know what to do with them. Oh, what? Oh, don't tell me you've fallen out, cow. I think it's probably grown up and like glitched through the glass, but you can go in there. Are these things all still getting fed? They are. Oh, this is good news. What have we got down there? Stop it. Go in the hole. Anyway, what? Stop it. How you keep getting out? In there. So basically, now I've got to decide how I get all of those items from down in that vault up to here, all of these items together, and all of them into some sort of vehicle that's going to be taking them between here and our new storage facility over there. I think I've got a plan. What I'm going to do is, instead of having these item vaults here, is I'm going to pump all of this meat stuff downstairs. And that might be a crazy thing to do because I want all of these items upstairs in order to be able to... What? How did you get... What? Stop it. Stop escaping. So yeah, pump all of the meat items down here, bring all of those items over to around about here, and then pump them all back upstairs again to around about here. So I guess it's building time. Okay, the first system I've got in place here is a bunch of conveyors. We're going to take items out of this item vault along this conveyor and up these chutes here. These chutes come out of this point here, and then what I need to do is get the meat into there as well, probably coming up another chute just next to it, I guess around about here, which is going to be easy enough. I can just put another encased fan there, another set of chutes going through that hole there. And with these conveyors here, which come down directly underneath of our vaults that's got our meat in, they're going to take the items into these chutes here. So we're going to need a funnel on there, we're going to need a funnel on there, and that means all of the items for the meat and the vegetables are going to be coming out at this point here. Then on top of those chutes, I am going to have another big vault, and that's going to store everything. And this is going to be what our vehicle is loading from. So now what I need to do is connect some chutes to these conveyors from underneath those vaults. Oh, it's already going. Here we go. And then we just need a brass funnel on there to get those items out of there, and everything should, if I've done it all correctly, be going into this vault here now. It is. And then I'm going to use a few of these blocks to try and make this look a little bit like a pallet. And then coming out of this, we're going to have a portable storage interface, which is just basically a conveyor with a funnel there. We'll have a brass funnel on there to get the items out nice and quick. So now we've got all of this stuff ready to collect, I guess it's probably time I built something to collect it, although it might make sense to build somewhere for it to go first. Let's make another big vault here in this wall, and then that can just be joined up simply like that. Now all I need is a vehicle to take the items from over there, bring them over here. How could it be? And now we have a wonderful meat van. This is fantastic. It's just a little mini lorry. I really like it. And I've laid out the track in a very interesting way under the ground, and I'm really hoping this is going to work, although it does mean I'm going to have to move all of that around. So first thing I'm going to do is put down that, put a little man down here, grab a lead, stick him in there, and then give him this schedule and see what happens. So he should drive past the barn and then reverse in. I've no idea whether it'll be in the right spot or not when he does, but he should. There we go. He should reverse into here. Fantastic. Whoa, he's got a bit far, but we can sort that out. Then he should drive forward, back out here, down round there. There we go. And he should go all the way to these crates, turn right, and then go down there. And that's where he's going to unload at that point there. Although I think he needs to reverse down that really, but then he's going to reverse round this corner here into the snow, which we'll have to fix obviously, and then he should do it all over again. But now he can't for some reason. But I don't think that was bad. There's a little bit of tweaking he's doing there, but that should work out pretty well for us, I think. Good news, the little meat van is doing a much better job now. When it comes round this corner here, you'll see I've added some snow and a little wall there, and it just happens to raise up on the snow a little bit there as it backs then down to come up to this gravel block here where it's going to unload, and then it goes off again. That's loads better. Well, a little bit of time has passed and I now have a whole bunch of storage drawers in here and not much else, other than if I dig my way down into the floor, we've got some power, and that power is coming from our main power station all the way down these power lines all the way down to here, which kind of looks a little bit of a mess, but well, I like the power line idea, and I know there's a whole bunch of you saying why don't you use the electricity mod. We will, but in the future. Not for now. So now that we've got power and we've got a bunch of storage, the only thing I'm missing in here is wheat. Wheat is missing, but you'll notice I have a whole bunch of extra drawers with nothing in them. These drawers are left for the cooked versions of those drawers are left for the cooked versions of those, and all of these drawers at the bottom are going to be for our meals that we're going to be cooking. I've also left some space behind here in order to add in a contraption to send items upstairs, and they'll be the items that we're going to be using in our automation process. But I guess before we get too carried away, we should probably look at some of the meals that we're going to be automating so that I can actually figure out how to do it. And realistically, although there's a whole bunch of different items, there are some that give you actual buffs. There are comfort buffs and there are nourishment buffs, and I have absolutely no idea what either of those do. So we're going to be aiming to make the meals that give us the highest buffs, such as chicken soup, which can either be cooked in a cooking pot or it can be used in a mechanical mixer with a blaze burner. Fried rice also gives you 5 minutes of comfort, which also has all of the ingredients that we need. Pumpkin soup does too, but I don't have any pumpkin slices and I don't have many pumpkins, so I don't think that's going to work. And then we've got roasted mutton chops, which we can make, vegetable noodles, and then there's plates of roast chicken, but it doesn't actually show you how to make that one. I guess it probably involves the roast chicken recipe, which we could do, and then there's also the plate of shepherd's pie, which is the shepherd's pie recipe, which we could do. And there are a whole bunch of other recipes as well, but I think we should focus on those for now and see how we get on. And before we get carried away with that, there's a couple more ingredients that I really could do to collect. One of those shouldn't be too difficult. If we grab a cow, that's just going to be milk, but the other one's going to require a little bit of darkness. This might work, although it's a long way to get the items away from there. But yes, I think this is going to be the perfect spot for something interesting. What is it? I'm not telling you. And that something interesting thing requires me to have this rich soil, which we made in the last episode. So I'm going to get as many lanes as I can of this rich soil, plant a whole ton of mushrooms on it, run a bit of powered rail down the side. Then all I'm going to do is stick down a cart assembler, set it to lock rotation, throw down a minecart underneath it, put a storage vault on there and a storage interface, throw down a bunch of andesite casing, stick some harvesters on that side there, stick some more harvesters on this side as well, glue all of that together, get a redstone torch, make this a contraption, set it to go, remove the cart assembler, power the powered rail, and oh dear, I've attached the soil to it. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. There we go, that's better. Right, I can't let this thing go until all of the mushrooms have turned into mushroom colonies, otherwise it deletes the mushrooms. But it really doesn't take long on this rich soil. As you can see, most of them have already. But as soon as they're all mushroom colonies, then this thing could go and it'll just harvest brown mushrooms for us. And I think I'd like to add red mushrooms too. So all I've done is move the whole thing forward. The powered rail is on the other side, the contraption's facing the other way round, and that means that the storage interface interface can be in that corner there, and that means that when I power this and get this thing going, hopefully everything's grown and it's not going to delete everything. Yep, that's all working nicely. Good. So if we hop down onto this next level here, you can now see I've got these chutes coming down there, and they come all the way down here behind these guys and drop the items on the floor there. So what we need at the bottom here is a drawer controller slave that can go in there, and as long as that connects to our storage drawers with a little bit of trim, I guess, like that, then all of the items should, if they go into these chutes, go into there and be put in the drawers. Fantastic. Good. We've got a little mushroom farm. That was nice and easy. So with our mushroom farm now working nicely, I guess it's time we had a milk farm, and that's going to be really easy. Let's say, for instance, in these storage drawers here, we had a drawer for buckets of milk and one for empty buckets. We'll need to be able to take those away and send them to wherever our milk farm is going to be, and then we need to bring the full milk buckets back. And we could use our van for that, to send empty buckets back over to the farm, but then that means we're going to have all sorts of crazy things going off here to actually remove the items, and that could get rather complicated. I think realistically it'd be a whole lot easier to just grab a cow, stick it upstairs with our mushroom farm, stick it in a nice spacious pen so it's got plenty of room to run around, grab ourselves a deployer, and now all we got to do is get milk buckets downstairs and empty buckets upstairs. Now how could it be? What could possibly go wrong? A little bit of jiggery pokery later and I have an encased train drive coming out of the floor and a fan to push items up. So if I stick myself an andesite funnel on there, that's going to take empty buckets, put them into that chute, and they're going to go up there. And they should come all the way up these chutes and they should go into there, and it's already gone in, so that's good. Then on the back of this, we're going to have another one. However, it needs to be a brass funnel because that's only going to allow milk to go back down again. And they'll go all the way down those chutes and all the way down here onto the floor currently because I haven't connected it into there yet. And I think another drawer controller slave could be good for this. We'll throw that on there. We'll get a conveyor there with a bit of belt on it like that, and we just need that going in the opposite direction. So if we come back down into the floor, get another encased train drive coming off that, then what are the chances if I connect that to that, it's going to go in the right direction? 0. Right, fine. In that case, a little bit of shaft there, gearbox there, and now it's going in the right direction. So the only thing left to do for our little milk farm is to add power to this. Many shafts. That's how we're going to deal with this. We'll go around these chutes here. And then, there we go, we now have power to our deployer. So let's throw that milk bucket in there, chuck a bunch of empty milk buckets in there, lock that drawer, and hopefully we'll start seeing some milk buckets coming back down. Oh, I need one of those there, don't I? There we go, milk buckets, they're coming in. Wow, that was fast. Look at you being milked, what a wonderful machine. Oh, I'm so good at making machines, peeps. I also need to make dough, and the problem is I haven't got any wheat. And the reason we haven't got any wheat, whenever it gets harvested, it's just being siphoned off here to feed the cows and feed the sheep. I need to stop this taking quite so much wheat. Alternatively, the simpler solution would just be to plant a whole bunch more wheat instead of flax, because we're growing an absolute ton of flax, and I don't know why. I do like the flax when it grows though, because it does look like a proper cornfield, but talk's going. And that's a whole bunch more wheat planted in that part of the field. My stairs have moved. But don't worry, peeps, they're not haunted. Jeez, it's because I've been doing a bunch of work trying to get these contraptions in. And what I've decided is instead of having big old chute systems everywhere taking everything up, was to extend these storage drawers using the spruce trims, which then connect to these drawer controller slaves. And then we can input items from those, and we can also take items out of those. So our milk system is now in this little area here. And through here, I've got a couple more systems that I need to connect. We've got this one here which takes the rice panicles and then it crushes them to create rice and straw and sends them back into the system that way. And we've got this one over here which has caused me quite a headache because it needs water. Now I thought it needed water pumping into the basin, but it doesn't work like that. It takes wheat and a bucket of water and it creates wheat dough. So if I connect that there, you'll see this working. The wheat comes in, it mixes it up, it creates wheat dough, it drops the empty bucket out here, that then gets filled back up with water and goes back in again, and we've got a nice little system. And there's one more thing I've done, and that was to increase the wheat production even more, because we still weren't getting any in here because the animals were stealing it all. So what I've done now is over at this area of the farm, you might notice the farmland's a lot darker, and that's because I used peat to grow this wheat substantially quicker than the rest of it. And the other problem was that underneath the farm where it was actually taking the wheat and the seeds, it was coming through in stacks, which was just backing up and just, well, having all sorts of wheat just sat there not doing anything. So I've limited the funnels to only allow one piece through at a time, and that means it can back up properly, which means it then comes through here and is collected by our little meat truck. So yeah, it's all working pretty well. Now, every single recipe I need requires bowls, so we're going to need to automate the crafting of bowls in here as well. And because I've got near on infinite supplies of wood coming in from our wood farm, I don't need to automate actually getting wood over there. We've got 23,000 cherry wood, and I'll just pour an absolute ridiculous amount of it all over the floor. 13,000. We'll then use a saw to turn those into planks. And then I'm hoping I can kind of do something like that with the mechanical crafters to force them all into the middle, but I don't know if that'll work. Right, I've put a few things in place and I've wired it all up, but I don't think this is going to work at all because we've got no way of getting the planks actually into these things. So we'll worry about that in a minute, but I want to make sure we're actually going to get cherry planks through this because there's a bit of a bug with the Create mod where it'll try and strip cherry, but it won't actually strip it. It'll just turn into more cherry. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything at all. If I take that away, nothing. In that case, we'll have our first mechanical crafter here taking the cherry logs into that, and if we give that a bit of power, that should then craft those into planks and they'll go in there. There we go. We've now got a plank system. And you know what? Before I do anything else, I don't actually want this in here. I'm going to take it upstairs. And after a whole bunch of jiggery pokery and some faffing about, I've managed to squeeze all of this into this corner here, but I don't know if it's going to work. Those are then going to come out of there onto that conveyor, get split between these three things, and they'll go into these auto crafters here, which I'm now making buttons. Oh dear, I don't want buttons. Thank you. I'll just throw those down there. No one will ever know. I guess that means we need a middle one like that. Then hopefully this will work. There's only one way to find out. Let's connect it. No. Huh. Well, I've done a little bit of reading online and it turns out you can do it if there is a gap. It won't do anything until I give it a redstone pulse and then another observer facing into it. And now, there we go. Look, we're making bowls. Wonderful. Now, it would be nice if they were all stored downstairs with the other items, but having them up here is absolutely fine. In fact, doing the maths, that's going to give us 64,000 bowls. Now, before we start cooking all of our eggs and our meats, there's one final ingredient that I need that we're going to be creating from this wheat dough, and that is raw pasta, which you get from chopping dough with a knife on a chopping board, and you can do it with one of the mechanical slicers we used in the meat farm. So we're going to go back upstairs. We're going to come back into this room where we've got all this going on, and in this little area here, we're going to have a pasta factory. And here it is, a very nice and simple little pasta factory. We're going to have wheat dough coming out of there. It's going to come onto this conveyor, come around there, get sliced up like that, and we're going to have the raw pasta going in there. So if I connect that and connect that, it'll take a second to realize it's all connected, but there we go. Wheat dough is coming through. It's getting turned into raw pasta, and it's not going back in the system. But the reason it's not going back in the system is because it's got nowhere to go. So if I was to, for instance, stick that there we go. Now it's starting to come through. Now it's all going in. Oh, this is great. We've got so many ingredients. My little factory's coming together lovely. Right, so cooking. I'm going to need to cook a whole bunch of these meats as well as a couple of other things as well, and I'm going to need a lot of room for that. Although I can run it all through a very simple cooking machine, I need to be careful what meat I actually take because I don't want to use all of it. And the way that we're going to get around that is, oh geez, I haven't left myself enough room. I need all of this over by one block. Oh no. I was going to say the way we're going to achieve that is to put a threshold switch on the back of each one of the raw meats, and then we can use redstone links to limit how much we're actually taking through into the other area. The problem is though, I need threshold switches on these ones as well, but unfortunately the threshold switches from the top will also power the redstone links from the bottom. Oh, I need more room here. Right, okay. Let's move it all one bit at a time. Oh, and I need to move all of these up one block as well. Okay, that's everything moved out. You'll have to ignore the fact that it all looks horrible around the top for now. We'll fix that later. And where I'm actually going to do this cooking, because I'm going to need a lot of lanes to keep these all individual so that we can control them with the redstone links, I haven't actually got any room in here to do this. This is all going to be for cooking. This space up here is not big enough, and none of these little rooms are big enough. So we're going to have to do the cooking in the basement. Well, a little bit of time has passed, and this thing's getting a little bit crazy, but there's a method to my madness. All of our meats, as well as our potatoes and our eggs, are going to come out of these brass funnels and they're going to go into these tunnels. Now, I've set each one of the filters on here to only allow 8 items through at a time because we don't want full stacks. And these are all set to synchronize inputs because what that means is when all of the items go in here, it'll let them out in order in this bit here. So they'll come onto 4 lanes, they'll all get smelted, and then these filters basically say to only allow the cooked stuff through. The rice is going to be dealt with differently because you can't use that in the same cooking method. If I link that up to that one, all of the items should now start coming out. There we go. And as you can see, it's synchronizing the input, so we're getting a little bit of everything through here. That's all going to cook, hopefully relatively quickly. And there we go. It's all going into the system. Wonderful. What a lovely little cooking station I've got. Oh, my rice is all coming. I know, I'm not ready for rice. And cooked rice is a little bit awkward because in order to make that, we either need to use a mixer with a blaze burner underneath, or alternatively, we can just use a cooking pot, which I think is going to be a nice, easy way of doing this. And to be honest with you, I don't even think it needs to be down here. For cooked rice, we need a stove, and we're going to need a cooking pot. And I thought I might be able to squeeze this in here right next to our little bowl. And the way I've done that is to just add in another drawer controller slave there. One down there. We've got the items coming out of the cooking pot and into there, and we've got rice going in through this smart chute into there. But the problem is it fills up way too much rice and then it won't cook. Okay, I've set the threshold switch to move to lower lane at 20, move to upper lane at 10, and that seems to be keeping less than a stack in there. No, it lets 2 stacks through. Oh, that's so annoying. Okay, what if I told this to only allow 1 through at a time? Ah, there we go. Okay. Right, that's all I needed to do was just twiddle with that a bit. So I still got to get bowls in here, which is going to be quite tricky now. However, I don't know, it's not going to be tricky. Stick a smart chute there with bowls on there, put another one of those there, and then all I need to do is put that there. Wonderful, we've got a rice cooking machine. So now we are providing ourselves with every single ingredient we could possibly need for all of the recipes we want. So it's finally time to come up into this room and make a big mess. And there are 3 recipes that I want to make that don't require a blaze burner, and that is roast chicken, shepherd's pie, and roasted mutton chop. Roasted mutton chops and shepherd's pie only need 5 ingredients, whereas roast chicken needs 7, including bread. And we're not automating bread, although I do have a ridiculous amount of it, so that's probably quite a few meals. And I think we're going to start with shepherd's pie. So 5 ingredients I've got to get out into a line in order, because these mixing bowls are not good if you put too many items in them. So if I set all of these brass funnels up to only allow 1 item through at a time with the right item on there, then using the brass funnel trick again on synchronized inputs, I should be able to get all of those items in a nice line coming down here to this point. Then all I should need is a basin with a mixer on top, and then just a way to get that back into our storage system. Right, that's power to the belts there. We've got items coming out of each one of these, which is good. We've got all of the right items there. If I extend that belt that way and put one of those there, that's going to send that way, and there you go. Look, we get all of the items going in the right order. Fantastic. Then I need an andesite funnel on there, and that's going to allow all... Oh, no. Oh, you see, this is where there's an issue. It's not got everything I need in because it let more items out here. Oh, no. How am I going to deal with that? Let's just test something out. We get a comparator coming out of that. Yes, that worked. But if I take the items out of there, the comparator loses its signal. Okay. And the question is, can I block these tunnels with a little bit of redstone dust? I can put redstone dust on top. So hopefully then, if we get an item in there, that should stop anything else coming out of these tunnels until that item's gone. Oh, I need a repeater. And let's try that again. Put that down. Oh, no, that doesn't work. That's not stopped that coming through at all. If I remove that item, yeah, they carry on coming through. So that doesn't work. Okay, I have a new plan. My new plan is to have these redstone funnels all coming out onto belt. That does mean I've got to have 5 of these drawer controllers now. And we've got a redstone link on a clutch here. We've got a redstone link powering this redstone line here. And we've got a little redstone link just set up there. So when I turn that off, all of the items come out. But when I turn it on, all of the items stop again. Now what I need to do is have a way to determine if there's an item on this belt and then fire that redstone signal. Now there are such a thing as smart observers, and they can be used to detect a variety of events, and they can look at belts. Oh, and they can look at funnels as well. So I want to detect if there's an item on this belt at any point. I wonder if I can make these face down. I can. Oh, nice. Okay. Let's stick our redstone link on the back of it. There we go. Kind of. Oh, it lets 2 through. Another idea then. Let's move the smart observer onto that one there. Although that's going to stop anything going onto this belt at all. Jeez, this is a nightmare. How do I do it? I bet there's a dead simple way and I'm not even thinking about it. Well, after thinking about this for a little bit, I realized I can do this a lot more compact and a lot easier using a mechanical arm. So we've now got our drawer controller thing spitting out items onto depots. Then what I've got here is our little mixing bowl with the mixer above it. And there's a funnel there going into another slave, which is the same one the mushrooms are going down. And I think all I need to do is say, take from those like that and then deposit them in there. And hopefully that should work. Let's find out. It should be on round robin, so it should take from all of them. Forced round robin, there we go. So it'll do them all in order. And then we should get the right items in the right thing. It's got everything it needs. Why is it not going? Oh, I need 3 pieces. Oh, no, I didn't check the ingredients to see how many of each one it needs. Oh, I know how I can do this. This is okay. Right, we'll turn onions onto 2. We'll turn baked potatoes onto 2. And we'll turn mutton onto 3. Yes, this is the way to do it. Okay, good. It is doing it in the right quantities. Oh, this is good. Oh, this is wonderful. We are now making infinite amounts of shepherd's pie. And that is a relatively small little footprint for quite an advanced meal. So there's no reason I shouldn't be able to squeeze a whole bunch of these things in here for all of the different meals that we need. And this is going to be roast mutton chops, and this one only needs 1 of each ingredient, so I need to take from all of these depots and I need to deposit into there, put the mechanical arm on, and we should now be cooking. There it is, roasted mutton chops. This is wonderful, but we don't have space for it in our storage drawers, and we've already got 27 shepherd's pies. Oh jeez, we need more drawers. Mutton chops in there you go. Now the only downside to this shepherd's pie is I do need to keep using bowls, but what I really like is after you've got it all, you've got like a plate with food on, which would be really nice decoration if we was to ever decorate things. According to this, roasted mutton chops gives you nourishment of 5 minutes, and so does shepherd's pie. So let's try eating one. Advancement made, nourishing. I have no idea what that means. All my little hunches have gone gold. Oh, wonderful. The final recipe I'm going to be making is roast chicken, which actually needs 7 ingredients, including bread and eggs. But now I face a whole new problem, and that is that if we run out of ingredients, the mechanical arm's not going to stop actually trying to put the items in, which means our mixers are going to be overflowing with the wrong types of items, and then they're not going to produce what they need to produce. So really what we need on these systems here is a way to detect if there is an item missing on there, and if there is, to stop the mechanical arms. Oh, and I just thrown my only egg. Oops. Well, at least that's going to give us an opportunity to see how this is going to fail on us. So it's going to grab everything it can, and it's going to put it all inside the mixer, and they're all pretty much in the right quantities, except we've got no eggs, and now it's going straight back to putting bowls in. So yeah, it's carrying on even though we're missing an ingredient, which is not ideal. But now hopefully this thing's actually going to be making us some nice tasty roast chicken. Here come the carrots, and here we go. We're going to be having a roast chicken dinner. It's gone. Is it in the drawers? It is. Look at that, a big old roast chicken. And I want those to live in there, but I want that. And I want to put it on the floor. And I want to grab a bunch more bowls and make myself some roast. Oh, you get bone meal as well. And there was a cool chicken carcass there as well, but I missed it because I was too eager. But don't worry, guys. We got another one. Let's try it out again. Put it on the floor. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Oh, look at that. That's amazing. And now it's gone. Everything I've made gives us nourishment 5. But I really wanted to produce those meals that did comfort 5. Well, these ones require the blaze burners. Maybe we could just have some temporary lines and just throw a bit of lava or coal in there manually. But this chicken soup recipe is relatively simple. It needs 1 bowl, carrot, chicken, cabbage, and then pretty much any sort of vegetable. So I'm going to go with tomatoes. Not a vegetable, you know what I mean. Tomatoes was on the allowed list made. And I could be more efficient with my cabbage here because you can actually cut that down into cabbage leaves rather than the whole cabbage and save yourself a bunch of money. But we got an absolute ton of cabbage. I'm really not going to be using that much of it. So all I need to do is give him a bit of coal and then reconnect the power, and this thing should get going. But all of the items are going in. Here we go. Is it going to make us chicken soup? It is. There it is. A bowl of chicken soup. Now let's find out what comfort is. Oh, it's so comfortable. What does comfort do? And with a little bit of research from the wiki, it says that nourishment basically stops you getting hungry or using saturation from doing exhaustive actions like running and mining and things like that, which is very useful for me. Whereas comfort just stops you getting slowness effect and hunger effects from other mobs, which is not something I'm really interested in. So I'm very glad that we've made these main 3 meals that give you the 5 minutes of nourishment, because I think that's going to come in very handy. And as much as I would love to continue adding even more lines in, automating even more production and decorating the rest of this building, unfortunately I've run out of time. So thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.